Well, thank you everyone for joining KETIV's Digital Manufacturing Series. My name is Anthony Rodriguez, Vice President with KETIV. I see some new faces that are joining us today and many customers that I've worked with for many years. In fact, I see a couple for more than 10 years that I've known and worked with. So thank you again for joining us. I'm joined by Joshua McBride. He's a technical solutions specialist with KETIV. Most recently, he worked at Nortec, which KETIV partnered with, where we helped Nortec on their venture in digital transformation and helping the business in a variety of process areas. And Josh decided it would be fun and a good path for him to come over to KETIV and help not just Nortec, but companies throughout the US along their digital transformation journey. So Josh, I'm looking forward to presenting with you today. And in addition to Josh, we'll have a team of individuals that are participating in these sessions going forward. Josh brings a wealth of industry experience, background, and processes and education like Six Sigma, lean manufacturing, ISO 9000. And in addition to that, Javier Chavez, Nathan Eliason, Grayston Dunafin also have a lot of industry experience in a variety of industries, from trailer manufacturing to working in software environments, working with industrial equipment companies. And all of them have recently gone through getting certified in digital transformation. See, at KETIV, we've always been a partner, a company that's been around for about 40 years now, helping companies in their engineering and design effort. And that's what we've done for most of our existence. And over the last few years, as we work with manufacturers, we work with our customers, we begin to realize that customers were looking for more than just helping engineers use products, use software and engineer and get the product to market. There was an opportunity to embrace technology to help those businesses transition and embrace digital transformation to better the business. And so over the last many years, we've invested in building out our portfolio of technology, our team of experts, to help you not just in engineering, but become a full service provider to help you automate product development, connect that product data to business systems, ultimately making your customers' experience better. Now, KETIV's always believed in sharing information freely. And many of you that are here, your engineers have already participated in the past what was called KETIV Virtual Academy. And KETIV Virtual Academy will continue. And that Virtual Academy is a session we host every Thursday at 10 a.m. And it's meant for engineers. Your engineers come to those sessions, they learn how to use products, they learn tips and tricks within the Autodesk product portfolio, the ANSYS product portfolio, and Tacton, which is a newer partner for us. But all of those tools are built to help your engineers get product to market faster. And we encourage you to continue to have your engineers participate in that event on Thursday. There'll be more information at the end of this where Josh will remind you to invite your users to that session and continue to have them participate. The session we're in today is really meant for business leaders, people within an organization that are helping reshape, rethink, and capitalize on opportunity in the future for your business. Like I said, we partner with companies throughout the US. This is just a representation of some companies that have worked with KETIV in the past and participate in these sessions. And we look forward to welcoming your extended team of leaders to begin to embrace and take the journey with us on how we can look at the technology available today, the new methods manufacturers are working today, ultimately helping you create more revenue for your business and drive more profit on that revenue for your business. Go ahead, Josh. There's an example of a company that recently has taken that venture with us. Hannibal Industries has been a manufacturer in Los Angeles for many years. Hannibal is owned by a steel conglomerate, Nucor. But Hannibal, for the longest time, had really been a product supplier, an equipment supplier. They won or lost deals in the past based on pricing, based on their responsiveness, and really were an equipment supplier to companies that needed to build racking systems within a warehouse. And Hannibal began to rethink their business, and listening to their customers, saw an opportunity to shift their business from being just an equipment supplier to really a full service supplier to their customers, where not only would they supply product, but they could help their customers think about how to optimally lay out their warehouse, how to maintain that warehouse over time, how to make it easy to add and create and request replacement parts, and create visuals for customers to be able to walk through for a variety of reasons, like safety, like selling their warehouses, and training new staff as they came on board. And so today we began working with Hannibal to really optimize how they respond to their customers, provide their customers more engagement in the proposal phase of a request, and ultimately getting product to market that customers expect in a shorter amount of time, and increasing how much profit they're actually creating on that product. And so I bring this up because it's one example of how customers come to KETIV, asked us to not just participate in helping them engineer better, but really evaluate and work together to look at opportunities across the business in sales, marketing, engineering, manufacturing, and even when their products in the field and maintaining it going forward, to increase the engagement their customers have, ultimately the experience their customers have, and create more business opportunity for them going forward. We also will have customers participate in these sessions in the future. And if any of you are interested in participating with us, you have ideas, methods of manufacturing that you think you can share and would help, this is really about building a network, building a community, and us all learning together as we think about the technology available today, the processes that are available today, and what our customers are requesting and the new expectations they have for our businesses as we go forward. With that, I look forward to hearing what Josh has to present. He'll really begin to set the stage of what we'll begin to talk about in this series going forward, and share with you some of the topics, some of the ideas, some of which may sound like buzzwords. But again, this is really about us together thinking about our business as a whole. The minute a customer comes to you and requests a product, all the way through getting that product out the door, maintaining it in the field, and using information to drive product improvement, so that we can become and turn our businesses better in the future. Josh, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you everyone again for joining.
Thank you very much. We'll get right into it here. So we've just had our bit of an introduction. I'll give a little more about myself here in just a minute. We're going to have a little poll, kind of get some feedback from each one of you, kind of within the realm of this subject. I'm going to try to keep the presentation to about 15-20 minutes. You know, I know that everybody is very busy, a lot of stuff to deal with as always, right? So we'll try and use your time wisely. We'll talk about the current market influences, if there's room for growth today, and how to make lemonade. And I'll get into what that really is. And then we'll have a Q&A session afterwards for those that want to stick around. So I'm relatively new here at KETIV as a technical solutions specialist. However, I have 20 years in manufacturing, really split between two different companies. One, I started in the natural gas industry doing natural gas compressors for about 10 years. That company, we grew, when I started, we were about 20 units a month, grew to 150 units a month before I left. A lot of change, a lot of growth there. I moved to the HVAC or air handling units. We did stuff for large buildings. That was with Nortec for about 10 years. I worked in R&D, product development, manufacturing engineering, statistical process control, quality assurance, implemented ISO, certified in Lean, Six Sigma, 5S, did a lot of project management, enterprise-wise projects. So a lot of different things, a lot of different areas of the business. So little fun fact about myself, other than all the technical stuff, is I love being a dad. I got 2 kids. One is 4, the other is 2, and we love to travel. I've got a small 19-foot RV, and this picture is from fairly recently. This past year, we made a trip to Huntington Beach, South Carolina. So that was one of the most enjoyable trips of my life. So other than my passion for technology, this is my number 1. We're going to do a quick poll if we can get that up. I think Christina's going to toss that up for us. And it'll just kind of give us, yeah, here we go. So I will pick a little something here, but this is going to feed right into what we're going to talk about. Basically, what is the impact that the economy and the current situations have had on you most recently? So we'll give you a chance to answer that, and I'll get started here. So the current market, we're going to be focusing, because our focus and the most important thing to us is U.S. manufacturing. So U.S. manufacturing historically has made up about 8% of the workforce and 11% of the U.S. GDP. And while that appears very small, the reality is U.S. manufacturing is huge. Not only do we have a total percent of 20% in net stocks, but they make a huge part of the total productivity growth of 35%. You've got 60% in exports, 55% of patents, and 70% of R&D spending. So the reality is, despite the initial numbers looking small, U.S. manufacturing is huge, a huge part of the economy. Not only that, but it has ramifications down upstream and downstream of it as well, whether that's through its selling of products through construction or places like Lowe's or Walmart's and so forth. But you've got the shipping and transportation industry that has to move all those pieces around. Some cases from manufacturer to manufacturer to the end user. So it's a huge piece. So that is historically the case, but the question is that currently the case? I don't know. I wasn't able to find figures on that, but I think most likely, considering the current state of things, these numbers have probably dropped. And so the question is, can we grow and can we really innovate in the current economy? Because these numbers show a lot of innovation, right? So that's kind of the question here. So we can get the poll results here in just a minute. We'll kind of cover those. Here we go. Pull that across. So interesting. Skilled workforce shortage has been the biggest impact, at least to those that are on today. Lockdowns, supply chain shortages have had an effect. And that'll be really interesting to compare to something I'm going to pull up here in just a minute. So kind of to look at some other figures, 50% of businesses reported a large negative effect from the COVID-19 pandemic. I think that's all something we all felt, whether it was on a personal level or professional level. And there was a post-pandemic survey. Of course, post-pandemic, it seems to come and go. So they kind of found that the number one was financial impact on operations and capital. Basically, that goes back to the ability to innovate and invest. Workforce impacts, reducing productivity, which is what you guys identified as your biggest. Decreased customer confidence and supply chain disruptions. So kind of the question here is, we have all these problems facing us, but are these really problems, or are they something else? So let's look a little further. So about 50%, there's about 50% turnover rate in Fortune 500 companies each decade. So about every 10 years, half of those companies that were in the Fortune 500 are no longer in the Fortune 500 anymore. They've dropped out. And you only have about 71 companies of the original Fortune 500 companies from 1955 are still in the Fortune 500. So, you know, a lot of people may look at that as something ominous, but the question is that really? Is that a bad thing, or is it a good thing? Let's look at one more, or a couple more here. So the IMF estimates that the global economy shrunk by 4.4% in 2020. The organization described the decline as the worst since the Great Depression of 1930. Right. So this chart here kind of shows that big drop, right? And, you know, I think there's a big effect here, kind of going back to those problems mentioned earlier and identified earlier, is a lot of these problems are new problems. They're new issues that we have never faced before. The supply chain issues, have there been supply chain issues? Sure, but have we ever had a shortage of over 80,000 truckers needed? That's the current estimate. You know, the big pileup on the coasts of ships and shipping containers. Skilled labor, it's always typically been an issue of not enough jobs, versus now we're kind of in the opposite end. We have plenty of jobs, but we don't have the skills to fill them, right? So new issues that are different than we've ever faced before. So let's get into, is there good in any of this, right? What's the lemonade if we can make some? So the reality is we've seen a 5.9% growth in 2021, and 4.9% is expected in 2022. Every decade, there's 50% availability in the Fortune 500. That means if you're not there, you can get there because there is room. Things are changing and moving constantly. And that's the real point here. The market is changing, and your company can be a leader in this new era. But as we've mentioned, that takes new approaches and new solutions because we have new problems. So let's go back to these problems that we're facing, right? So the supply chain disruptions, is that a problem, or is it an opportunity to improve quality and the BOM accuracy and the time it takes to produce that information? It's an opportunity to design for market flexibility and to forge domestic partnerships. Decreased customer confidence. What that really means is that we have to provide the best product and the best customer experience. Customers are being not necessarily frugal, but they're more cautious with their funds, right? It's not that they don't have funds, they're just more cautious with them, and they want to make sure that they get the best value for their dollar in that sense. So that gives us an opportunity to meet that. Workforce impacts and reduced productivity, that's an opportunity for automation, right? The biggest issue that was mentioned once again in that poll is the skilled workforce issue, right? Automation can ultimately increase profitability and your profit margins, putting you in a better place than you actually were before. The financial impact, well, that's just an opportunity to once again focus on efficiency and on value-added propositions, making sure that everything we do throughout the whole value stream, not just the shop floor, but the whole process from beginning to end, is value-added and providing the most efficiency we can. And then that really gets to this piece here, which I had intentionally passed over earlier, which is the potential for a global recession in the future. But the idea is if we do these things, then the reality is we're prepared. And should that happen, one, we're already rising to the top. And if another recession hits, then that is just going to put us even further out the top compared to those who have not prepared by doing these types of things. So let's look at a little concept here that we'll be revisiting this a lot in our future sessions. And this is what we call the transformation cycle. And it all starts here at the top with efficiency, okay? Making things more efficient. Let me scroll down through my notes here. So efficiency is where we start. And that is improving the processes across the whole business, not just focusing in one area or the other. The increased efficiency will not only result in increased output of current processes, but it increases the use of personal expertise for additional improvements to the business and product and additional employee satisfaction as well. That then leads to productivity. So with productivity, we increase the personal output in any area of the business. And this must ultimately lead to more product production, which will lead to larger profit margins. This also provides additional time for your highly skilled people to achieve more, right? We have a shortage of skills. Then what we need to do is enable the people that we have, enable them in such a way to use their skills to the best of their ability. Whether that's removing repetitive tasks or providing them better tools to utilize their knowledge. That then leads to improved quality. That may be through product quality, or it may be system data quality, which can lead to improved customer experience. That improvement through information accuracy provided to the customer, whether it be that pre or post purchase, or improve data accuracy to reduce rework, improve factory processes, design for manufacturability, or improve product performance. This is where fully utilizing the people that you have and their high skills that they've developed through their extensive years can really come into play. These things all together combine to give us an opportunity for, scrolled in the wrong area, an opportunity for improved sales. This can be through whether that's better customer engagement, to once again increase productivity, being able to provide the customer more or quicker, improved quality, once again putting you above the competition. These are all play into the sales aspect and the opportunity to find more sales. And we've already mentioned the fact that these all leads to higher profit margins. And that all combined leads to increased revenue. Then with that increased revenue, we can now reinvest into even more areas of efficiency. And so this cycle is a circle here that's never ending, right? So we may start here initially. Oh, have a little issue here, clicking in the wrong areas. So while we start here initially with efficiency, this is a circle that never ends constantly, right? So with that idea, the next question is, or I'll hit this point first, getting ahead of myself. So that is how we get back to hitting these numbers, back to where we were before, where US manufacturing is leading with R&D, with patents, growing, creating better products. And so with these new challenges as opportunities, I believe we can achieve that. So what are the ingredients to that? How do we actually get there, right? So we're going to hit a few highlights here, and this is ultimately what we're going to begin to get into detail in the future. So according to a study, digitally mature companies are about 3 times more likely to report annual net revenue growth and net profit margins. That's huge. And I'm a very safe gambler. So, and in fact, I don't even gamble at all because I can't handle risk well. And that to me is very low risk. That's definitely the direction that I would choose to go. So last year's digital transformation study found that enterprises that apply the pivots broadly and deeply perform better financially, right? So the idea here is this is something that has to become a part of the whole company, that it's not just something that gets applied in little bits here and there. It has to become a new culture. And that's specifically something we're going to talk about in the future, as well as the culture around digital transformation. So manufacturers see digitization, AI, and automation of top drivers of product. Man, I'm stumbling over this. Manufacturers see digitization, AI, and automation as top drivers of productivity and profitability for the coming next 3 years. So that being the case, we want to make sure as manufacturers that we are going to be in that leading edge, right? And I really should say I'm still making the switch here, coming out of manufacturing and now being support for manufacturing, that KETIV, as KETIV, we want to make sure that you are prepared for that you are leading in this area, so that you've got that 3 times more likely to increase your net revenue and so forth. So in summary for today, the continuously disrupted market we face today requires innovative solutions. Once again, we're facing new problems that we've never faced in the history economically of the United States. So that requires innovative solutions to meet those things. In addition, there is growth in the economy, but that growth is there if you embrace the opportunities set before you. And so the real question is will you lead and rise to the top? So the market is changing. And so the question is, will you change with the market? So with that, our next session will be February 9th. And we're going to get into a lot of these things in a lot more detail. In the future, we'll have examples. We'll have, we'd like to even have some customers on and share some of their successes and things like that. And I'll hand it over to Anthony to kind of close us out here.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Josh. Again, for everyone attending, our goal today was really to expose you to really a new KETIV. Many of you know us as very helpful engineers and consultants that help you use Autodesk products, ANSYS products, and Tacton products. Over the last several years, as I mentioned, we've really embraced what our customers have asked and looking at how to turn the data they create for their product into valuable assets to move their business forward. And like we talked about earlier, some of this may sound like buzzwords to you, but many companies today are embracing digitizing their process, embracing digital transformation. And it's not something you just think about and plan and jump into fully. There's stepping stones. It's like innovation. You take small steps, you have ideas, you implement things, and new ideas come from that. And we're looking forward to hearing from all of you of what your plans are for digitization, digital transformation, not just in engineering, but in using engineering data to drive the rest of your business. And we see that today, where engineering data, when used properly, when connected to business systems, can drive more sales, can drive more profit, can improve your customer's experience, involve your customer in the next innovation that you have, involve your customer in the order process, in the fulfillment of that order, and ultimately stay connected when that product's in the market, in the field, and being used. And so we look forward to continuing this discussion. If any of you have topics that you'd like to request in the future, be sure to add those. And like I said, if anyone would like to participate, we welcome that. We have a list of potential participants that will be joining us in the future, and look forward to having you in some of those future sessions. Go to the next slide, Josh. As a reminder, all of your engineers have access to learning as well. And that learning is in-depth learning and tips and trick learning on how to use the technology we provide to your organizations today. Some of that stems from data and how you can work with engineering data to drive the rest of the organization. Testing your product, whether it's overheating, drop tests, vibration, magnetics, electronics. We have a full team and staff in our simulation practice to help your team learn those tools, but also participate with you and conduct some of those studies. Many companies today are shifting their business strategy from a off-the-shelf to a build-to-order, configure-to-order type environment. And there's many tools we're sharing with engineers on how to do that and how to prepare to create more of that type of environment to help the rest of the organization. Again, all of the topics are here. I encourage you to make sure all of your engineers are attending. Again, this is held Thursday, 10 o'clock every week. And we have thousands of engineers that attend in the US every single week. And so don't get left behind. Make sure your team's embracing this and participating as we go forward. We look forward to seeing them there. Go ahead, Josh. Great. There are a couple of questions that did come in. So I'll go ahead and read these off, and I'll answer them, or Josh can. There's a handful of them. The first one has to do with the technical academy we just talked about. And somebody is asking, can I get a list of who on my team is actually attending, and how do I get more people signed up? And so if you want to go ahead and email Josh, he can go ahead and pull a list with our customer success team of which of your engineers have attended, what sessions they've attended, what kind of questions they're asking, to get a handle on how your users are doing in those sessions. And we'd be happy to, of course, invite the rest of the team that you have. Let me take a look here. A couple other questions. One of them's a comment where Rodney said, thank you. Thank you, Rodney. Look forward to hearing what you learned from that book. So I appreciate that. One of the other questions is that you heard me mention Tacton, and somebody asked, what is Tacton? Tacton is a new partnership for us. Tacton is a product configuration tool and provides an e-commerce solution. So those of you who create configurable products and want to expose a configuration opportunity to your customer, we have solutions and experts and processes that can help you do that. As an example, if you go buy, there's a simple example, a car today, you go online, you put in the specs that you want, you get a visual of the car, you can make changes, you can walk through the car, really get a handle of what this is going to look like and how it's going to perform. If any of you want to begin to have an environment like that for your customers, Tacton's technology in conjunction with our technical expertise can help you do that. In fact, the example we talked about earlier with Hannibal is something we're working with them on today, to where they can respond to proposals quicker, they can improve their win rate, and they can begin to engage our customers in that proposal process, which adds a lot of value to the overall customer experience.
We have some short videos that we could share that demonstrate those abilities, specifically like the vehicle that Anthony mentioned. We have a video that shows kind of how that interaction works and the process that's available through that tool, which is Tacton.
The last question I'm seeing here as I'm scrolling through is, somebody says, I didn't know KETIV can do a lot of this, and I have some ideas. Who do I call? definitely call me, call Josh. Josh's information is here. If any of you would like to, really it just starts with a discussion and understanding your company, your business, the products you make, where you see opportunity, and our team can begin to help shape and create a plan of how to do this in a planned approach. Like I said, this isn't something you embrace and change your business overnight. This is something where we identify areas of the process we can begin to digitize, and look at those digitization techniques and opportunities to begin to prepare opportunity for you to transform your business going forward. And so that begins with a conversation. And so if you'd like to explore that, reach out to Josh. He can pull me into that. I love having those conversations, and look forward to talking to each of you that are participating today. So thanks for that question. With that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up, Josh. Again, thank you for your time presenting, Josh. Today's session was really meant to expose you and open your eyes to how KETIV's helping customers throughout the US. We want to help you automate product development, turn that product development data into a valuable asset by connecting it to the rest of the business and your business systems, and ultimately help you delight your customer. So with that, I'll go ahead and wrap up. I look forward to hearing from each of you, and we look forward to seeing you in our next session next month. Thank you, everyone.